There are 118 unique dishes that you can cook in Breath of the Wild. I want all of them. Now, the meals in Breath of the Wild span from, I threw rocks and wood into a pot and it somehow didn't kill me, to, I've never tasted anything like it. And behind both of these reactions are one simple thing: ingredients. Now, in some cases, these ingredients are pretty easy to find. Mushroom. Cool. And in other cases, you need to track down a hot air balloon so that you can use fake money to buy monster comb. I said those words out loud. So the two-step process is very simple. Find all the ingredients, make all the food. But between those two steps is one unforeseen obstacle. My dumbass. Yes, as always, I made this incredibly hard for myself just because of the way I am. I am my own handicap. So thinking this will take 2 to 4 hours, not realizing that my aforementioned dumbass will make it take 4 days, we wake up in the Shrine of Resurrection with new and glorious purpose. To become the best chef in Hyrule, we need the finest ingredients. And to get the finest ingredients, we need to expand our horizons. So our first step is to get off the Great Plateau. Get off the Great Plateau. Get off the Great Plateau. I have been playing this game for 5 years. Now, I actually need to rewind for a second because while all of these are blunders, none of them are the first. The honor of Primordial Blunder, a title only slightly overshadowed by the original sin, goes to about 3 minutes in when I forgot to put on my clothes. And this is how I stayed for pretty much the rest of the game. I sold these clothes. After leaving the Great Plateau, I got caught up fighting a stone talus. I did not win. And I got a pop-up ad.
What?
I decided it was in my best interest to follow the main story up to a point, because I needed to get to Kakariko and Hateno anyways, and I figured it would just be helpful to have them marked on my map. Because while I might be an idiot, I don't want to be a lost idiot. That show really fell off in the final seasons. To make best use of my travel time, I used it to forage for fruits and vegetables, to destroy mineral deposits so that I had some source of income, and slaughter every animal in sight. I will kill all the animals of the world. All of them. Die, stupid furry critters. But Sweets, how do you know which ingredients you need and which ones you don't? I'm glad you asked. What do you call a document of hundreds of items that you need to forage, hunt, and barter for? That's right. I made a shopping list. Using IGN's Breath of the Wild cookbook, which highlights every dish in Breath of the Wild mostly accurately, I'll get to that later, I used it to compile a list of every item for every dish. It's only 38 items in total. You just use a lot of wheat, rice, butter, and salt. So, unlike most of my videos, I had a very clear idea of everything I needed. I just didn't know where to get it. Do you know where to get to Bantha wheat off the top of your head? I don't. I did just realize that is a really stupid line because you would presume that you would get to Bantha wheat in Tabantha, but fuck you. I think the only times I cooked with these ingredients in a regular playthrough was on accident. But there were several ingredients I did know. You can get raw meat from boars, goats, and foxes. You can get raw prime meat from wolves. And you can get raw bird drumsticks from cranes and flamingos and the like. Yes, most of my knowledge revolves around animal cruelty. I didn't need to know every place I could get an ingredient. I just needed to know one place that I could go over and over again. Luckily, a lot of the places that I knew I needed to go just so happened to sell the things I didn't know where they were. For example, they sell goat butter, eggs, and carrots all in Kakariko. Mr. Floating Internet Man, I may not know much about wheating or whiting or the complex food mixture system engaged in Breath of the Wild, but I don't remember there being 21 carrot-based dishes and the like. 1, never talk again. 2, a lot of the simpler dishes don't call for a specific item, but just an item that fills a particular role. In this case, any vegetable, herb, or flour. So, salt grilled greens? That's a carrot. To make it easier to get exact numbers for what I needed, whenever there was a choice to be made, I predetermined something to fill that role. And thus, at the top of my shopping list, we have this guide for what represents what. After learning that Hateno will be my main base for both rice and milk, and taking pictures of children, I decided it would be best to make my way to Lurelin Village, since it's not that far from Hateno, and I need the porgy that both live and are sold there. So naturally, I spent a good 15 minutes going the complete opposite direction.
There's a coastline town somewhere. Where is it? Is it Lurien? I need to go the complete opposite direction.
I'm starting a pattern. Watch this. I'm so fucking bad at video games. It's not even funny. Nailed it. I also knew that you got things like hardy salmon, which you need for salmon menu, and wild berries, which you need for crepes, from the Rito, which is conveniently on the opposite side of the map. So I strapped on my running feet and tore across the countryside.
Well, yeah, 80% of this is just commute time. It's just, Pantless Homeless man tears across Hyrule.
During the course of the playthrough, I developed a great affinity for bomb combat. They did a lot of damage, they were infinite, and if you weren't stupid about it, you wouldn't get hurt. I said if you weren't stupid about it. The Rito also happened to have Tabantha wheat, so they became my base for that. And finally, I knew I needed Goron spice for every curry dish in the game. and that is sold in 1.5 places in Hyrule. So I made my way up Death Mountain, and that was an endeavor.
No, 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 no. Whoa! Go Biden. Ouch. Efficiency. What the fuck?
This is where I broke my accidental rule of staying naked for the entire run, because I was going to be coming back here a lot, and I didn't want to obliterate the Hyrulean lizard population by making fireproof elixirs. So I bought the damn chest plate, and those became the 5 locations that I used to get the 6 things that I needed the most of. And when I say they became my bases, I mean it. I needed 31 Hylian rice. You know how many they sell in Hateno?
5.
90% of my plan was to teleport between these 5 places, then run around in circles committing eco-domestic terrorism until they restocked. Rinse and repeat. However, there were 2 ingredients that were pretty hard to get. Neither of these ingredients can be bought anywhere in Hyrule. The least bad of the 2 was finding 8 coarser bee honeys. Over the course of my natural exploration of Hyrule, getting between village to village and whatnot, I found 1. I ran around for 30 minutes looking for trees with beehives. I found a couple, and then I also found this cabin with a slight infestation problem that I rectified with several controlled blasts. I firebombed his trees, and the finding of my final bee honey started an event which I like to call the hour-long meat hunt. Raw gourmet meat is dropped by several creatures throughout Hyrule, but most of them inhabit really cold areas such as the Gerudo Highlands or the Hebra Mountain. I'm only allowed to dress for the weather when I'm inside of an active volcano, so chilly mountains are off the menu. There is one animal that can drop it in a climate that doesn't resemble that of the Dilatov Pass, and that is the water buffalo, and also those wolves that I mentioned earlier, but we all saw how killing off all the wolves worked for Yellowstone. I knew I could find some buffalo in the mountains of the Hateno region, so that's where I decided to look. For an hour. I don't know if I just have the worst luck on the planet or if my bomb hunting method somehow reduces the chances of dropping that sweet, succulent meat that makes all the girls go cray-cray, but this was hell.
I still got it, baby. Yes! Oh my god, yes, that was so worth it! Let's fucking go!
And with that, I had finally collected every ingredient and could make every meal. Link can only hold 59 meals, which is half of the possible meals. So between the first and second rounds of cooking, I forced him to indulge one of the 7 deadly sins and made him eat enough to kill a large man. Fantastic! Now I just need to cook the second half of the meals and...
Uh-oh.
Remember that thing I said earlier about IGN's guide being mostly accurate? These rice balls were supposed to be a dish known as gourmet meat and rice bowl. IGN says this dish can be made with either raw gourmet meat or raw whole bird. That isn't right. This dish can only be made with raw gourmet meat. Which means I get to go on another meat hunt. Let's go, baby! Meat Hunt, the sequel. I brought season 1 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That did not take as long as last time. It took me like 3 minutes. The Lord works in mysterious ways? And that's what I'm gonna leave you with. Peace.